Have you ever left a conversation feeling confused, guilty, or like you needed to apologize, even though you did nothing wrong? That's not just miscommunication. That's manipulation. And narcissists are masters at one specific trick that keeps you stuck, silenced, and second-guessing everything. Let's talk about it. If something feels off, it probably is. Trust that. You're not imagining things. You're recognizing a pattern. Narcissistic tactics are designed to make you question your sanity. It's not just what they say, it's how they make you feel. Manipulation is often subtle, and that's what makes it powerful. You leave the conversation doubting yourself, not them. And when you can't trust your own thoughts, it becomes harder to break free. That's exactly where they want you. Unsure, over-apologizing, and stuck. They don't need to convince you they're right. They just need to make you unsure that you're not wrong. That slight uncertainty is enough to keep you quiet. They live in the gray areas where nothing is ever clear but everything is your fault. The confusion isn't accidental, it's the entire strategy. Once you start to doubt your own emotions, they've already won. You stop challenging, stop questioning, and start shrinking. But clarity is your first step back into power. You're not losing your mind, you're losing their narrative. Here's the number one thing narcissists do. They flip the script. They turn your pain into their pain. They make your valid reaction look like the real problem. You bring up something that hurt you, and suddenly you're the one being accused. You express a boundary, and somehow now you're selfish, dramatic, or unstable. They don't take responsibility. They twist it until you're apologizing for how they hurt you. And it works because it confuses your nervous system. You start asking, am I overreacting? Did I say it wrong? Maybe it is my fault. They hijack your empathy. Because you're a caring person, you want to explain, to fix it, to be understood. But they're not looking for resolution. They're looking for control. They bait you into defending yourself so they don't have to look at themselves. It's not an argument, it's a power play. What's cruel is they know exactly what they're doing. They study your triggers and then use them to flip the script in real time. They exaggerate your tone, dismiss your facts, and make you look like the aggressor. Eventually, you stop bringing up your concerns because it always turns into a blame game. You think silence will keep the peace, but it just gives them more power. They force you to fight for your own feelings. They know that if they can make you doubt your truth, they don't have to face theirs. They will interrupt, deflect, and distract until the topic changes. By the end, you're apologizing just to make it stop. They thrive on emotional exhaustion. It's their greatest weapon. They don't seek understanding. They seek emotional leverage. And your guilt is their currency. Narcissists don't want connection. They want control. And flipping the script protects their ego at all costs. They don't regulate their emotions. They regulate yours. They provoke you, push your buttons, then blame you for reacting. If you cry, you're manipulative. If you get angry, you're unstable. If you go silent, you're cold. No matter what you do, it's the wrong thing, because the goal isn't clarity, it's dominance. And because you're self-aware, you assume you must be the problem. You do the emotional labor. You reflect. You try to communicate better. Meanwhile, they weaponize that emotional maturity against you. And you end up shrinking while they stay unaccountable. They thrive on emotional chaos because it keeps them in control. And the more confused you are, the more compliant you become. They mix guilt with love until you can't tell the difference. They keep you addicted to validation they only give in small doses. They test your limits, slowly, so the abuse becomes your new normal. They condition you to accept blame, even when you've done nothing wrong. It works because it's slow, subtle, repetitive, and over time you lose the ability to recognize what's real. They wear you down, not through explosions, but through erosion. Each conversation chips away at your confidence. You become afraid to speak up because you know how it ends. They exploit your desire for harmony and use it to silence you. They rewrite the narrative so often you forget the original issue. And by then, you're questioning your memory instead of their behavior. Step 1. Stop trying to get them to understand. Clarity is not their goal, control is. Instead, start noticing the shift. If every conversation turns into your fault, you're not in a relationship. You're in a manipulation cycle. You don't have to win the argument. You don't have to explain your humanity. You don't need their permission to feel what you feel. Validate yourself. I'm not overreacting. I'm reacting to a pattern. I'm not crazy. I'm being emotionally spun. Set the boundary and hold it. Leave the conversation when it becomes a circus. And remind yourself, the goal is peace, not permission. The more you trust your own reality, the less power they have. You're not here to fix them. You're here to protect your peace. Gaslighting only works when you question yourself. So stop handing over your clarity to someone who profits from your doubt. You are not too sensitive. You are not difficult. You are not the problem. You are waking up, and that's what they fear the most. Your boundary is not up for negotiation. You don't owe an explanation for protecting your well-being. And if someone reacts to your boundary with rage, it's proof it was needed. Trust your discomfort, it's data, and trust your silence, it's power. Your silence is not weakness, it's strategy. Distance gives you perspective, healing gives you vision, and clarity gives you choices. You don't need permission to walk away. You just need to remember you're allowed to. When this pattern repeats, it slowly erodes your identity. You stop trusting your gut. You question your memory. You hesitate to speak up because it never goes well. You start walking on eggshells to avoid setting them off. And in doing so, you disappear piece by piece. This isn't just conflict, it's conditioning. Over time, you learn to silence yourself before they even have to. You might become hypervigilant, constantly analyzing, anticipating, editing yourself. Not to be authentic, but to stay safe. And it's exhausting. You lose sleep, self-esteem, and connection to your intuition. But this is reversible. The moment you begin to name what's happening, you start reclaiming yourself. Awareness is your first act of resistance. You don't need permission to trust your perception. You don't need proof to leave what confuses and drains you. You don't have to wait for things to get worse to honor your inner voice. Your nervous system wasn't built for constant survival. Healing starts the moment you listen to what your body already knows. And healing is possible, even if you've been stuck for years. Your voice matters, your reality is valid, and your peace is worth protecting, always. You were not made to constantly explain yourself. You were not born to be broken down. The version of you that walks away is the version that survives. That version will feel strange, but it will also feel free. Freedom starts with believing yourself again. You get to stop asking for validation. You get to start offering yourself compassion. You get to choose peace, even if no one claps for it. Your power isn't in changing them. It's in changing the way you respond. You don't need to debate a manipulator. You need to disengage. You don't need to win an argument. You need to win back your peace. Start saying less. Watch more. Pay attention to patterns, not promises. Instead of asking, why do they do this? Ask, why am I still explaining myself? You can hold empathy without abandoning your boundaries. You can be kind without tolerating mistreatment. Start choosing yourself, even if your voice shakes. Stop negotiating your reality with people who benefit from your confusion. You don't need to convince anyone that you're good, worthy, or sane. You already are. The moment you stop defending yourself is the moment you start protecting yourself. That's your power, and no narcissist can take that from you. You get to choose peace over chaos, clarity over confusion, and self-respect over approval. That is how you break the cycle. That is how you come home to yourself. And that is how you heal. You deserve love that doesn't hurt. You deserve peace that doesn't demand silence. You deserve safety, not just survival. Stand in your truth even if your voice trembles. Keep walking even when it's hard. The freedom you're looking for is already inside you. Now you just have to believe you're allowed to have it. And you are. If this resonated with you, you are not alone. There's nothing wrong with you for being loving, empathetic, or hopeful. But now it's time to offer some of that love and hope to yourself. If this video helped you feel seen, supported, or just a little less alone, please consider subscribing. This channel is a safe space for healing, clarity, and learning to trust yourself again. Every week I share more content like this to empower you, validate you, and remind you of your worth. So hit the subscribe button and let's walk this healing path together. You deserve peace, and you deserve to never forget it again.